Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother 25 Roundtable podcast. This is the podcast where, of course, we talk about everything from the feeds and we rate the players based on how well we think they are doing in the game. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me this week to talk through it all, she's back. It's Melissa Deni. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm back, baby. That's my party music, and the dogs are back too, as you can tell. Yeah. Oh boy. I'm very excited to be back. I'm happy to talk about the show again. However, this season right now is not doing it for me, and I am not happy and thrilled and excited to talk about it because it's just so boring and lame. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to be back. I've missed talking about this because I have been following along. The whole time I was out of the country, I was absolutely following along and was not super thrilled. And yeah, excited to talk about it.
Yes. Well, the question for me is this Melissa's fault? Ever since we left, things have just been getting worse and worse. And I guess with me to help answer that question is Mari. How you doing, Mari?
Hi, Taran. Correlation and causation are two different things, so I will
Just pointing it out.
so I will leave that alone.
Just asking questions.
Yeah. but I'm here. I'm back. I'm back to take my fate. But we will get through this roundtable together, all of us together. Yeah, I'm here. I can't wait to talk with you guys.
Yes. All right. Well, of course, what a week it has been here for Big Brother 25. I sent out a survey on Twitter earlier today where you can answer all kinds of questions about the season, including how you would rate the whole season so far, how you'd rate this week, rate the players based on how well you think they're doing, amongst other things like ranking how much you like them. You still have some time, roughly 30 minutes to fill that out if you want to go and do so. And then we'll talk through the answers in the back half of the podcast. But in the meantime, Melissa, you've been gone for a while. What have your thoughts been?
Oh man, it has just been like so hard to just watch every single week these guys dominate the competitions and not let anybody else have a chance. I just feel like this is not I want to say like this is not Big Brother, but like at the same time I feel like this has been Big Brother for like a while now, and something really needs to change because it's just it makes for such a boring game. These guys have been trading off competition wins. Like what? Oh, okay, it's just to see who's going to be the next to go until we finally like get down to the bottom two and it's or the top two, I guess bottom two, whatever, and it's them. Like what are we waiting for here? We're just wasting our time. I feel like Zach Grant's being like, we're wasting my time here, like just give him the money already. I feel like doing that DR. It's just been really lame. And then also on top of that, like not good strategy. And not only that, like the constant talk about we're the good guys and they're the bad guys and they were bullying us and we're doing the right thing and all that sort of stuff. It just makes me sick. It's like, how do people not realize that every time they say we're the good guys, they're actually not the good guys? Like it never works out that when you're thinking, like if you go in the house and you start to think to yourself, yeah, I'm one of the good guys. I'm on the good guys team. No, you're not. Put that thought in your brain. You're not on the good guys team. It never works out that way. So it's just been like it's been a slog. It's been a slog. It's not a fun show to watch. It's not a fun show because there's no chance for anybody else. And we're just like sadly watching people leave every week with no strategy or nothing changing. There's no chance for the game to change because the same people are winning over and over and over, and they're just picking their next target to go. And that's it. And it's just, it makes me sad. If I wasn't podcasting about this, I honestly would just stop watching already and just like be like, I don't really care. This season had the potential to be one of the best seasons. It started out so strong. I was so excited. You know, you had Suri in the house, but you also had a bunch of really great competitors. And it seemed like nothing ever really got too personal. There was a few things, obviously, but like for the most part, it seemed all above board. And it just has, it's not even slowly tanked. It's just like shot down. It's just like a slide. There has been no just like, oh, well, it's just a little bad week by week. It's just now terrible. And I hate to like be so negative, but it's just really sad and boring. And I want to see some excitement. I want to see some game switch ups, and we're not getting that. And I just feel like, yeah, now I feel like Daniel was like, just end the season.
Oh God. Just end the season already.
You had that ready. It's true though. Don't you feel it's true? It's just like, who cares? I don't know. It's like, I'm not even rooting for anyone anymore. I'm not excited about who's going to win or anything. I just feel like it's like whoever wins, it's just kind of like, okay, well, all right, what's next? It's not, I don't know, whatever, but we're all in this together, guys. We can do it. We're almost done. We are almost there. We are making our way to the end, and that's that.
Yeah, like I never thought I'd be like, I wonder what Big Brother would be like if all of like the worst things to happen in a Big Brother game. And not meaning like by the people, but like mechanics wise. So an HOH gets to play HOH back to back and win back to back. Oh wow, that really sucked. Comps where the comps themselves lean so heavily towards one specific body type or one specific type of player to the point where like we pointed out so many times like the comps aren't equitable enough. It's not equitable enough for the casting that they're choosing to cast, and it's not equitable enough to make a compelling TV product. But I think what like I kind of want to put a cap on that is like it also shows you that like when the comps aren't equitable and the comps are only won by a certain set of people, it also takes away the whole expect the unexpected thing, and it also takes away the social consequences of stuff. Like if we know that Jag is going to continually to win things, Jag doesn't have to, you know, be socially conscious of where his positioning is socially, because he can just beast out a comp and not have to worry about it. We don't get to see people, you know, trying to make friends with Jag and make friends with Felicia just in case Felicia might win. No, if Sari and Felicia are always looked at as like they're never going to win a competition, we've even said it on all these podcasts, we're like hoping for them to win a competition, but we're like, let's all be real, they're not going to win because it's going to be the same type of comp, and then they don't. So that's not fostering any people to go and try and like work with them or you know what I'm saying? Like it's not taking somebody's ability away to win comps like completely, and not only taking their ability away to win comps, but also the whole house kind of knowing that they can't win comps severely handicaps a player. And that's what we're seeing this season. I think it's just more, it's way more pronounced to see it this season. And I think the reason why that is because we also kind of know how strategically good Suri is, and we see her strategic and social maneuverings, but unfortunately because of the format of Big Brother, she's very good strategically and socially, but without that piece of being able to win a comp, it just does not matter. And that's the complete difference between Big Brother and Survivor. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're strategic and social in Survivor, you can still make your way towards the end of the game without winning a comp. Big Brother has now made it in the last 6 years that is not possible. And that's just unfortunate, because I think that gets away from what we all felt like Big Brother was on its inception. It's a social experiment. You know, it should be like a microcosm of society, with also like seeing how relationships play as the game goes on. But because the emphasis on comps have been growing and growing in so many years, we have now transitioned to almost a challenge like state of the house where the comps dictate everything. And then on top of that, you get comps that only certain people can win. And it's just not a great product, because people are saying, well, if Sari and Jared and Izzy were doing this back to back, you guys would love it. No, I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure it'd be just as boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are missing the point. The point is, when there's absolutely no other recourse or option that the other side is gonna get power, that is boring. Like, it's boring. I don't care what you say. Like, that it's boring, and we've seen it in so many different iterations in the past few years. And I'm over it. I'm really over it at this point. Like, they really need to rethink their game strategy, because I just cannot understand the thought process of the comp. Like, I want to know what they do for the comps. Like, do they lay the comps out like months in advance? Like, I really want to know, because who said let's do a knockout style comp at Final 5? Like, who thought that? Who thought to have 3 knockout style comps in the whole season, when I feel like we don't get that many normally? Like, Taran, I don't know. We've had 3? That seemed like a lot.
It is a lot, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
For sure. I don't think we've ever had 2 straight knockout comps.
Okay.
Season, at least in the last 15 years.
Thank you. So I feel like I'm not crazy. It's like we've had 3 or so many knockout comps. Every comp has almost been a time trial comp. Like, how is like 75% of your comps a time trial comp? And then Taran correctly pointing out that a lot of those time trial comps are just spot the difference. Like, that's maddening. I can't.
Spot the difference while running around, ziplining, jumping,
physically
climbing.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the mental comps this season are not just mental comps. They're mental comps with like, okay, and then you have to like run up the stairs and jump off this thing and like score a basketball. It's like, it's not a mental comp then. It involves a mental component, but that's not a mental comp. Like, there needs to be way more just straight mental comps where like everybody is on the same playing field, and obviously like crapshoot competitions where anyone can win. Like, we need more of that type of thing, because Big Brother's not the challenge. We've all been saying it. Big Brother's not the challenge. Big Brother's not about like strength or whatever. That's not what Big Brother's about, and it has never been about that, like in the past at least. So this is just like, they need to rethink their comp strategy, because it's no fun. I hate watching competitions. That is my least favorite part of Big Brother. So like, it doesn't do anything for me to watch a bunch of people running around. Like, that just like does not do anything for me. So I mean, I've been a viewer since season 1 when it first started. So like, if they're trying to appeal to like people who are fans of the show and not just like, I don't know, people who like watching the Olympics or something like that, they're not doing it.
And I like watching the Olympics, at least
I mean, to be fair, I like watching the Olympics too.
I
also like watching the Marble Olympics. Has anyone watched that?
No.
Oh my God, it's so wild. This guy actually puts on Marble Olympics. He calls them like the Marble Olympics or something. I don't know. But he does like full on Olympics with marble teams. It's on YouTube. It's so good. It, like, honestly, you'll look at it and be like, what is this? Why am I watching this? And then you'll get hooked and you'll root for your team. And it's like really fun. Anyway, okay, whatever.
I mean, a great example of how you can make anything interesting. It doesn't need to be the same kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of American Ninja Warrior. I podcasted about this show for years. I love that stuff. This is not that. It's not good. It's not fun to watch. It's not entertaining. It's the same kind of skill. American Ninja Warrior has different kinds of obstacles that test the athletes in different ways that some people are really good at and some people are really bad at. And the most consistent competitors often will fluctuate at times because it's a well-designed show. And, there's plenty of criticism for that show too, but like, that's actually fun to watch. This is not fun to watch. at least from my perspective. And it's certainly not fun to watch in the sense that, like, if you had American Ninja Warrior, where it was a bunch of 25-year-olds versus a bunch of 50-year-olds, wouldn't be that fun to watch, I think. So yeah, I mean, I saw this tweet recently that was like the last 9 women to win both an HOH and a veto in one season, and the last 9 like men. And like to get to 9 women, you had to go all the way back to Alex Au from Big Brother 19. Because the most recent woman that's won both a veto and an HOH in one season, it was Hannah in season 23. But to get to 9 men, you just had to go back to like Xavier from BB25. So like a 4-season difference there, obviously. But I was a little curious. I thought, well, what about both HOH and veto? To do the double in 1 week, to get both the HOH and the veto. In order to get 9 women who have won both an HOH and a veto in a single week, you have to go all the way back to Aaron Grease from Big Brother 15. In order to get 9 men, you have to go all the way back to Cody Calafieri. Not from season 16, though, when he did it in BB22. So 9 women goes back to season 15. 9 men goes back to season 22. In fact, since season 22, Cody, he did it twice in one season. Michael also did it twice in one season. Jag also did it twice in one season. There's only one woman in the history of the show who has ever done it twice in one season. That's Danielle Murphy from season 14. The only other woman to ever do it twice at all in the history of the show, Nicole Franzel. It took her 3 seasons to do it. You can come up with all kinds of these things because it exists everywhere. There's a plethora of it. And to me, you know, we talk about Big Brother. It's a representation of society. When I go on other interviews and I'm trying to sell the show and like justify my own career, I talk about the show and the beauty of it because it is a representation of society, ills and all. But what attracts people to Big Brother is that it represents it reflects what you experience in your own life, the good, the bad, the ugly. But Big Brother is a show that presents this power fantasy that you get to go, well, in this game, it's possible to turn that around. It's possible to pick up some allies, to win a competition, and all of a sudden the structure that has beat you down your whole life is flipped on its head. And that moment is beautiful when you watch this show. But recently, it's been harder and harder for those moments to happen. And again, further credit to a player like Taylor for managing it. But I don't think that means that we've stopped sort of reflecting society. If anything, we're only further representing it. It's still the beauty to some degree of the show, just in a more frustrating way. I mean, look at the way that the audience, or at least a portion of the audience, will react to something like this happening. The structure of the game, society, government, whatever, is shifting, or is just in general hugely disadvantaging groups or a group of people. And a lot of the pushback to the criticism of that is, well, it's their fault. They should have done better. They should have taken this person out sooner. This is how they could have avoided that if they just had pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, if they had just budgeted a little better, if they had just won a competition here or there. And even though it's so clearly the structure that is holding these players down, we are going to continue to criticize the individual players and make generalizations about them instead of addressing the actual change. In fact, there are so many people that are saying things like, what do you want them to do? This is just the way it is, except it's not. It changed fairly recently. And when the show started, it was completely equitable. How do you want me to change it? Go back to what it was. That was the thing that was fair. The thing that, the era in which the show was the most successful it had ever been and has ever been, that time. when it took off and spawned a 20 plus year run. That's one way they could do it. Or I don't know. They could also just do their jobs and come up with some new ideas that are equitable. But the response to this criticism is very telling to me in terms of like, yeah, I mean, this is what we deal with in society now, and that's depressing, and it's not very fun. And this is sort of where we are. Interesting though it may be that Big Brother continues to represent us in this way. It's not representing the best of us right now.
Yeah. And that's what I get for trying to Google the Marble Olympics during the broadcast. But yeah, it is frustrating, and we're going to continue to talk about it because, I mean, you got to talk about it to shed light to hopefully
So what else are we going to talk about?
Plus, what are we going to talk about? Because honestly, there's really not much. And like, it's kind of weird because it's like like when it's the final five, Taran said it plenty of times before, like final five is like not that great entertainment wise anyways, like across the like making Dire Fest and the other one, 2 final fives, Taran said that was boring. But like also it's just this kind of amalgamation of the final five. We've seen it time and time again, and it's like rinse and repeat at this point. And it's like the Minutemen and their hanger on Bowie, it's the 3, and it's like even kind of worse at this point because like we know the 2 other people aren't getting an equitable shot at the competitions coming up, so it's just kind of like even like more like a final five. Actually, it made me think about last year's final five and how intense that week was, and how like nail biting that week was, and how still entertaining that week was, because that was the only week that I was like, oh my god, Taylor needs to survive this week so she can make it to the end, because it was her and Alyssa on the block, and Alyssa's like main friend Turner could have easily voted Taylor out, but instead there was a split vote and Taylor was saved, and then she went on to win Final Four HOH, and she won the game from there. But anyways, like there's a difference, you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that there's kind of like no wiggle room is just it just sucks. And again, it's like this type of final five, we've seen it. We saw it at BB19, we saw it with BB22. We saw it, not BB 18, because there's like kind of wiggle room there. But like it's just,
I think it was around 19 when the shift happened, at least in terms of the data, where men started winning even more. There's the anomaly of BB20 because there were 2 athlete women on the cast that crushed. But aside from BB20, it's the trend is from BB19 to now, essentially.
Yeah. And so it's just, you know, it's just not fun. And again, you can sit here and be like, well, y'all are crying because it's not your faves. It's like, no, it's boring. This is boring. And then on top of that, like Melissa said, we're getting people talking. Like, I've come on this program plenty of time and saying talking crap about other house guests is viable strategy in the Big Brother house. It's just how people bond and stuff like that. And I still say that's true. I just don't want to watch it. Again, I've said that as well. I don't want to watch it. I especially when it's like Melissa said, that self-righteous type of stuff. It's like, we're the good people. It's like, you're not. It's fine. It's whatever. You don't have to be the good people. Like that. Why are you obsessed with being the good people? Be the villains. Like, be funner. Be the villains and step into it. It's not fun, y'all. It's not fun. It's been a slog. I had to catch up on all this stuff, and I was like, I don't want to, but I have to. And I'm sorry. I'm negative because it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah, and I know that it's like, it's a weird skill, the kinds of competitions that they're putting in front of people, but like it is essentially pretty close to just saying, hey, you know, 50 to 60 at least % of our competitions are going to be swimming competitions. Like that's the equivalent of what they're doing, because people will say like, Jag is just good at comps. What do you want them to do? Tailor comps just for the old women in the house? Like, obviously we can't do that, except again, that was the default, not tailoring for specific people, but the default was everybody had a chance.
Yep.
For years.
Those
They
old
then
school comps,
started
man.
tailoring it for specific kinds of people. And that's where we are right now. That's the problem, is that they have tailored it for a player like Jag, who happens to be good at these hybrid comps. And we're just watching a guy that is good at these things do these things over and over and over. And you can't even be like, oh, well, you know, it's just he's that good, because it's like you're putting him in a swimming competition and he's Matt. He's just winning the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, it would be much more impressive if it was something different, like different stuff he was winning.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that difficult to like make competitions that are equitable. I think like the problem is they apparently want to see competitions that are like, you run across this thing and you search in a thing of balls, and then you go back over here and you jump on this thing and you answer questions, like very like visually physical stuff, or like a combination or whatever. Like that's what they want to like produce. But like a situation where it's like, you know, everybody's standing somewhere and you're putting your finger on something, like that's equitable because like, you know, it's just a finger. You're not running across and then having to solve a thing and then, you know, whatever. You literally are just putting a finger on something, or like answering a trivia question, or, you know, without a physical component. Like it's not about like, oh, well, how do we make a competition that a 60-year-old woman can excel at? Like it's like, no, just have a competition where there's not the physical, you know, athletic thing that's at the forefront, like for every competition. Like just, you can do that periodically, whatever, that's fine, because it's supposed to be like kind of random, but have some where everybody can win and everyone's like on an even playing field. I feel like that's the key.
It's not hard because we've seen them. We've seen them. A lot of the BBOTT comps kind of come to mind, you know, standing there with a little sword thing on your hand, just sitting there holding it. You know, the counting, like I used to love the counting challenges in Big Brother. We just had it last year, with this is 10 gummy bears. How many gummy bears in here? Like I used to love playing along with that. Like that's as equitable and crapshooty as possible. How bad do you want it? I mean, that's still kind of equitable to me, because it's, again, how bad do you want it? Like there's so many, I feel like there's so many comps that we can go back from in the history of BB that are way more equitable. Hide and go veto, that doesn't take too much. There is some running involved, but you know, you just gotta hide a thing. That's not too physically involved or leans too much one way. Like there's just so many to choose from, and they're just not. It just doesn't really make sense. They really are going towards this: do something physical, then a puzzle, do something physical, then look at these things, do something physical to, like, I just don't understand when they have it. It's all there. And this is the 25th season. Why didn't they go back and revisit like iconic comps? They just don't want to. They don't want to.
Yeah, and you know, it like if you want to say I don't care about any of this, I would still argue that on a practicality standpoint, they are casting their show for seasons 1 through 8, and they're providing competitions for seasons 21 to 26. They're 25. They're casting their show. They're casting for the wrong show. If
but
they're
I
going
love the
to have,
casting, so don't change that.
but this is what I'm saying. Like this, you have to pick one. If you're going to have these competitions be the majority of the competitions, then you need to cast a cast of players who are all capable of winning these competitions. That's the thing.
All athletes.
You have to pick one. You have to either do that or change the comps. One or the other, because otherwise you get the same thing over and over, which we have gotten in the last 6 seasons at least half the time at this point. More. that like 1 or 2 people will just win everything.
We're
And
about to give them ideas. They're like,
it's
all right,
just
let's cast
They're
like Love
yeah,
Island.
wait, what have we been doing? We need to start casting athletes only.
I mean, at the end of the day, like that's like that's their only choice. Like they don't even like, you know. Anyway, from a practicality standpoint, I genuinely think they need to pick one. So let's talk through some of these questions.
Yeah, let's actually get to the round
I
table.
I'm really thinking like CBS really gonna put like Love Island, do Love Island style casting and put in Big Brother. I could not imagine. The hot dummies are no longer on that island. Somebody tell Kirsten
They're in a
they're in
house.
the Big Brother
They're at the
house.
Radford lot.
Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, in case you didn't know, the summary of the week is very simple. Matt won the HOH. Jag won the veto. Suri is going home. The Jag, Matt, Bowie final 3 is still locked in. And I don't think I've already talked a lot about it this morning, but like there's a plan in place to keep Felicia up all night. I did look it up, by the way. Sleep deprivation is one of the banned torture tactics from, you know, whatever. So we've talked plenty about the we're good people, the ridiculousness. I mean, this season, if it wasn't bad enough, this has only further. And some people are like, oh, it's man, 100 days. It's just man, nobody could go 100 days without pissing off the. No, very easy to not get in trouble here. You don't talk about sleep depriving a woman, a 63-year-old woman, for the sake of you know, winning a quiz competition over them. You don't talk about other women having cheater vibes and being dumb because they can't cook or clean for you. You know, just pretty basic stuff. Doesn't have anything to do with 100 days. More just has to do with don't do that.
Stop that, as people would say.
But I'm very there's one question here on the survey that I was really interested in looking at, that rate the season as a whole so far. Because you know, just a couple of weeks ago, week 10, this is week 13 here on the Stockwatch. I asked the audience to rate the season as a whole so far, and they gave it a 7 out of 10.
Was that the last week I was here?
It might have been.
Oh God.
But then the week after that, it was a 6.6, and then last week it was a 5.7. This week it's a 4.5.
Yeesh. Guys, I'm so sorry. I left and this happened. It's all my fault.
That's not surprising. I mean, like, cast decisions aside, I think this season really came to a screeching halt because of the twist. Like, I mean, you've said it time and time again, Taran, but I mean, that's what I think it really comes down to. That zombie week really threw the brakes on everything, all of the fascinating gameplay, everything, and then like having Cam come back too did not help. So the twist really killed the season in its tracks.
Yeah, I think Zombie Week just slammed it to a halt. It had a couple of like breaths of life, and then it died.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's sort of like you know, before that it was living life. It was living life like a rock. It was living too hard. You know, it was partying. It was doing all the drugs. It was living life on the fast track, and then just like that got cut too short, like many young lives that go too hard. Now, I was curious because a lot of people have been like, is this how it always is? Is this as bad as it normally is? Is this worse? You know, what about last season? Weren't we mad last season? Isn't it the same? Don't we just always get mad? So I went back and looked at all of the seasons at the final 5 that we have rated the season as a whole so far. And the worst one was Celebrity Big Brother 3, which had a 4.1 at this time.
Yeah, that was bad.
Also pretty bad, a little bit lower. Then next up was Big Brother 22, which was a 4.2 at this time. So just slightly lower. And we're talking season as a whole. We're talking season as a whole, Big Brother 22, 4.2. Season as a whole, Big Brother 25, 4.5. That's where we're at right now with the audience. And you might say like, okay, but maybe the audience is just being dramatic. Don't they get mad at around this time all the time? Well, the next lowest rated season at the final 5 is Big Brother Canada 7 at a 6.0.
Again, I'm seeing a trend here, Taran. Those just happen to be the seasons where all of the same people win those in-game comps. Huh.
Well, you'll never guess which one is next. Big Brother 21 at a 6.3. Big Brother 21 at the final 5 was a 6.3. And that was before the whole Tommy thing. Next up, Big Brother 23 was a 6.5, a full 2 points higher than Big Brother 25. This was there wasn't actually a final 5 because it was double eviction. So this was the final 4, I think, or it was either the final 4 or the final 6 that I judged this one. But people were, I think that the trend was going down at that point. People were like, getting a little frustrated with the end game there, because guess who was winning? Same people again. And then last season, remember everyone was so mad last season at the end game. Monty's winning everything. Everyone's so mad. Well, everyone's so mad last season. It's the same thing this season. It's not the same thing. Last season at this time, it was a 7.0. People were upset, but the season as a whole was a 7.0. They remembered the good stuff. They still had hope for the future. It was still a 7.0 game average to the 4.5 happening right now.
That week was crazy. Monty sleeping through the veto, Brittany winning the veto. Again, Alyssa and Taylor on the block, and you're like sitting here, what is Brittany gonna do? Brittany better not turn on Taylor. That was like, it was a nail biter, but it was fun.
Yes. And then if you're curious, the 2 highest were Big Brother Canada 9 at a 7.3. And then the true juggernaut, Big Brother Canada 10, was an 8.7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So no, it's not always like this. This is particularly bad. This is Big Brother Celebrity 3 and Big Brother All Stars 2 bad. And that's where we're at.
Yikes.
All right. Should we talk about how they rated the players or ranked the players from favorite to least favorite?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's just let's go for it. And we'll try to see if either of you can nail the full order. There's only 5 players.
I think it's Suri, Felicia, Bowie Jane, maybe Matt and Jag.
Suri, Felicia, Matt, Bowie Jane, Jag.
Okay. Mari is a little bit closer, but you're both a little bit off. It's Suri, Felicia, Matt, Jag, Bowie.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
That was my only
that was my blind spot. I didn't know.
No, Bowie's been bad this week, but I wasn't sure if
I feel like I didn't
more than Jag.
I didn't think it was gonna sink that low, but I knew people were not pleased. Oh boy.
That was funny.
I also asked the audience to rate the episodes this week. They gave them a 3.7. The feeds were given a 2.6. So pretty bad.
People are not happy.
Yeah.
I asked the audience to rate the Bowie's double eviction HOH reign. and she got a 1.9.
I mean, it's right. That's accurate, but that's low.
I asked the audience to rate Matt's current HOH reign. They gave it a 2.2.
Yeah.
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 The audience does not like it. We don't like it.
A bad decision, I think. Like, Suri and him were close allies, and for him to be like, yeah, forget that.
Yeah.
Get her out.
I think Matt is making an actual like bad game decision. I think like for Bowie's HOH, I didn't like it, but I think that was actually a better decision for her game wise. So
interesting.
I think the only reason why now Bowie is locked for third is because she didn't take the shot at them during the double. Yeah. So
well, that's why I think it was a bad game decision.
Yeah, I think the one thing is that like she's locked for third, but it's still third.
But that's what she wants. She wants third. I'm at the point where she got what she wanted. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's possible, but I think
you were like, it's a good thing that she got it. She accomplished her goal.
She accomplished her goal.
I also think like it's possible that is further than she would have gotten had she have taken a shot at Matt and Jag. Like, I think like it's possible that if she had taken the shot at them, then she like leaves next. So like technically maybe she's going further, but I don't think it's good for her game in terms of like her winning. Like, I don't think that she has a chance at winning, but she might go farther in the game, but still like not be at the money. So I don't know.
Yes. Well, I asked the audience who they want to be evicted this week, and 83% would prefer Felicia leave. And I asked the audience who would they like to see win HOH next week, because they've been saying America for basically the entire season, which never happened, because guess what? There wasn't a comp that she could win except for the one. So instead, now I have to include Suri in this, just in the off chance that she does end up staying. But obviously the real question was between Felicia, Jag, and Bowie. But despite that, 50% of the audience said Suri.
So we are Delulu out here. We're still holding out hope until Suri walks out that door. We will root for her.
44% of the audience said Felicia.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So 94% of the audience does not want Jagger Bowie.
Yeah. The odds of that are so slim, but would be so good.
If the Final Four HOH is like last year's Final Four HOH, where it was Julie dressing into different clothes that Taylor won, it's possible. Or a baking competition, which spice to put in a turkey competition, it could happen. We have to hold out hope.
Well, Matt would obviously do very well at a cooking competition because he's very smart and he knows how to cook quesadillas.
Because that's what,
Yep.
All right. So those are the questions from the survey, but of course we still have to rate the players, because this is the portion of the podcast where we rate them from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. We then ask the audience via this survey what they think, and then we average it all together and combine the scores to influence the prices of the shares of stock in the Stockwatch that you can play along at home with at realittystockwatch.com. This is what we've got. Here it is. Here's the board. Only 5 players to rate this week.
So small.
And for the first time this season, we're not starting with America.
Very sad.
We're starting with Bowie Jane. How do we feel about Bowie Jane? I don't feel great about Bowie Jane. In fact, you know, I'd be so so tempted to give her a 1 because I think the double eviction HOH was really bad. It was an opportunity to win the game or have a chance to win the game, and she didn't take it. However, I still think there's like a glimmer of hope. And maybe it's just like a reflection off of a mirror, off of a thing that she's seeing because, you know, like, yeah. But like, if she gets to the end with Felicia, which isn't impossible, but fairly unlikely, she has a shot. If she's in the end with Jag, the way Felicia has been talking, Felicia may be a vote for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one. And then like you never know. You never know like how Jag's behavior has turned people off. The fact that he was evicted, people remembering that, how much of his game was comps. Like it doesn't seem super likely at all. But it's not impossible enough for me to feel justified giving her a 1 this close to the end, knowing she's basically a lock for final 3. So I will give her the 2 here. But yeah, terrible. I feel like she was. I was somebody who's and because again, here's the thing. I want to make this clear. I still feel like Bowie is a player of the game. People all season thought she wasn't a player. She didn't have her head in the game at all. She always had her head in the game, just in the wrong direction. You know,
she's a player, just a bad player.
I've also made this case for Victoria in the past that like people acted like Victoria was like just completely like head in the clouds the whole time. And to be fair, more so even than Bowie, she was at times. But like, there's a thing about these kinds of players. It's not necessarily that they're like that they can't understand what they're doing or that like they're not playing the game. It's just that their motivation and their goals tend to be very different from what you would expect somebody to have. Victoria was very good at being Derek's like whatever you want to call, not number 2, but henchman maybe. She was very good at being that role for him.
But she didn't do anything.
She did. That's what I'm saying. Like she had tasks. She accomplished those tasks. Talked to certain people. Too. Convinced them that she wasn't a Derek pawn. Did things that actively helped Derek in the game that he directed her to do, but she did them well. Bowie similarly played a somewhat similar role here. Only you know she got picked up way later, and so on and so forth. But like Bowie was able to continue to trick people like Corey into thinking that he had her. Bowie is the reason why Corey doesn't try to turn on Jag earlier. Not that it would have mattered because they won all the comps anyway. But like, still, she won some of those comps to help save them. So she actively did play the game. Just again, in the like, if this were a NASCAR race, it's not that she can't drive. It's that she's going in the wrong direction on the track. Is my argument.
That seems worse.
Perhaps you might argue that is in fact worse, but yes.
But she's accomplishing that goal. She's coming in first backward.
Yeah.
But I will reiterate what I said this morning as well, though, that like, you know, she has a much harder path to take in terms of like how she drives her car than somebody like Jag or Matt, who have the benefit of being like, well, you have to take them out because obviously you can't beat them, which was the case even before they started winning comps. Even before they, like, Jag just being Jag always was going to win over Bowie just being Bowie. And because of that, she has an incredibly more difficult path because now Jag is winning all these comps, and to take him out is way more difficult than it is for Jag to take her out or whatever the case may be. So, you know, I think it's important to recognize that as well. Again, like the systemic influences on the game that influence how we view these players. You know, it's way worse for somebody to have all the power and the ability to win and then also throw that away than it is for somebody who starts from way behind to then decide, you know what, maybe it's better for me to just go backwards. I'm already way back here.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna give Bowie a 2. Like it has been said many times, she had her big moment. She finally got power in the double and just totally blew it. Just like, it's just so sad when that happens too, because you're like, oh my God, like someone outside of Matt and Jag have power, and then just to do nothing with it is just like so sad. And to take out America, like that was that was a blow. I did not like that at all. So yeah, I mean, I think like the one thing that Bowie has is that she's still in the game and anything could happen, although who knows about that anymore. But yeah, she still has a chance to win. I don't think it's likely, but she still does have a chance. And so she's not a 1, but certainly close. I'm very, very, very disappointed in Bowie's game.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I'm gonna give her a 3 because she accomplished her own personal goal. She is locked into a final 3 spot. She is currently at this point the only person where it's like anything truly can happen. You know what I'm saying? Because um going to the final 3 with Matt and Jag, I do think she has a good shot to fumble her way. We've seen her fumble her way to 2 HOHs in a booth, and she might actually do it a 3rd time in that final HOH, which would be it would be like weirdly legendary, but in a bad way. Like Bowie has something that unfortunately Felicia and Sari don't, and that's a chance. You know, she has a chance to get to the end. The way that Matt and Jag are burning these jury votes left and right, who knows? I'm really, really interested in seeing like the jury roundtable, the clips from jury and stuff like that, because if we get the final 3 of Matt, Jag, and Bowie, and the way that they've been handling just the jury phase, like I this would be one of those seasons where I was like, I would not be shocked if the jury is quote unquote bitter, even though I don't believe in a bitter jury. So I think Bowie has a chance. It's not good, but this is where we're at. Like she's firmly there. She firmly has a shot at sitting in one of those 2 chairs, especially with what it feels like is Jag kind of rethinking his options when it's coming to Matt. You know what I'm saying? So and I don't see her getting taken out at 4. The only way she gets taken out at 4, I'm thinking, is if Felicia wins HOH. And you know, and even then again, depending on who wins veto, that even that might not happen. So I'm gonna give Bowie a 3, just slightly more than you guys, because nobody wants to see us agree on everything all night.
All right. Well, the audience agrees with you because they also gave Bowie a
Look
3.
at that.
So there you go. Bowie gets a 3 overall, and we move over to Sari. Melissa, how do you feel about Sari?
I like don't know what to give Sari, honestly, because I guess like I feel like this isn't her fault that this is happening. Like I don't think this is like a move that she has done that has put her in this position. I think Matt is making a big mistake. And I see a lot of people in the chat suggesting 1, but I feel like there's a chance Sari could pull something, right? It's only Tuesday or Monday. Gee, it's not even Tuesday. I feel like I don't really want to give her a 1 because I don't think that to me, honestly, like I don't think a 1 necessarily is. I don't know. I feel like a 1 isn't just like, oh, the person's going home, give them a 1. I think a 1 is like when they've done so terribly that this is their fault. Like they have just done so horribly that they deserve like the lowest rating. But I feel like if you're just because you're going home doesn't mean that you're a 1. And we don't even know if Sari is going home. I think, oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe like I guess like if we are thinking that she's gonna go home, maybe like a 2, but maybe a 3, honestly. I would go with maybe a 3. or I don't know. I guess a 2. I don't know. God,
Who
can
you
somebody
want, Melissa?
can someone else like pick or something? Or,
It's your rating.
I'll give like a. I'll give a 2 just because like she's probably going home, but we don't know. And then if you guys change my mind to something else, maybe I'll change it. But I'll do a 2 for now.
I famously came on this podcast. I did a full eulogy for Felicia, and I gave her a 1, and she stuck around for 6 more weeks. But I have to be fair here, and I have to give Suri a 1, only because she is. Yeah, hit the music, Taran.
Hold on, I wasn't ready with the good one.
I'm sorry.
The Suri womp womp.
Oh, not the Suri one. It hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to the pits of my soul. But if there was ever a week that Suri took her foot off the pedal, which she's done, we've seen her do in this game, but recover. Unfortunately, this was the week that she can't recover because she let Matt renege on her deal. Taran said it multiple times on the round table. She went to sleep, and in Big Brother, when there's the final 5, I know she had that reassurance from Matt, but she went to sleep and she let Jag and Bowie just spill all that nonsense into Matt's ear to put her up. And then later on in the week, now they're still pouring all that into his ear to him being okay with letting her go. This is as much on Matt as it is on Suri. It's squarely on Matt as much as it's on Suri. But I think this was probably her weakest gameplay this week, and I don't blame her. I truly feel that the game has like really gotten to her. Seeing all of her friends and allies leave out of the house one by one and her not being able to do anything about it, I think it's finally getting to her, because as much as we talk about the legend of Suri and how she's played these games, she's always played this game with normally a loyal core of people around her, you know what I'm saying? And being able to go as far as those people as she possibly can. So her not having her core, her not having the power to protect anybody, and then kind of being saved as the last person to get their neck chopped off, I think she's just kind of lost it. And then on top of that, how would you feel if you're also in this house and you keep seeing these comps that you're like, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even, I'm trying to
Every
muster
time
up
she goes
myself.
outside, she flips a coin, whether it's even possible for her to win.
Yes, and she's mustering up these feelings. She's like, yes, I'm gonna do this. And then she goes outside and it's like, oh, I have to jog around the backyard. Great. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things, you can only do but so much. She can only do but so much with her strategic and social know-how. And even socially, she can't do much. Her power doesn't hold with only 5 people in the house. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just one of those things that if she goes this week, like Melissa said, there might be a chance. If she doesn't go this week, is it just a holdover until next week? You know what I'm saying? So I feel bad for her. I think even she's at this point where it's like, fine, whatever. And I have to give her a 1 because I think that's what her gameplay has dictated this week. But again, I do think this was a lot of Matt's doing, and she probably should have tried to focus all of her missed power, all of her social ability into him and keeping him on track and telling him like, Jag and Bowie can't, like, they'll be mad. Bowie might be mad for like 2 days, but it doesn't matter. Like, I have your back. You need to be taking somebody into the final 4 who has your back solely. I don't have any of these other people's back. I have your back solely. And she should have beat him in the head with that over and over, but she didn't. She let them sit up there and get closer, and she let Jag talk Matt into making this bad move. So this is where we're at right now. It hurts. It hurts.
Where we're at. Well, the audience last week gave Suri a 6, and this week, out of their minds, they gave her a 5.
Good for the audience. That's a reboost.
Wow.
How many of you are invested in Suri currently? Yes, I'm speaking to you person in the audience that gave Cirie a
Jeez.
higher rating because you're invested in Cirie. I
Not
see you.
me.
And I'm not talking
Mhm.
about you, the people in the audience that gave Cirie a high rating because you feel bad and you don't like the direction of the season. I'm talking to you, person that has invested in Cirie and gave her a 10. I know you did it.
Ah, we're messing with the stocks.
Yeah. Price fixing.
Yeah.
Um, I echo everything that Mari said. I think that you know, I will say this. The way that I try to look at the game, at least, is that if it's a mistake for the person doing it, then it's even worse for the person on the receiving end in terms of gameplay because
Mm,
logic is on their side. It's
mhm.
more impressive if they convince somebody to make a mistake rather than convincing somebody to make the right move. Which is part of why back during the Corey stuff, people were like, why are you saying this is a potentially good move for Corey? You hate Cirie? I'm like, no, I'm saying it's not as bad for Cirie because Corey made the right move against her. It's harder to defend against that. But I think that there were plenty of arguments she could have made, should have made. I do think she drops the ball here. Again, though, everything we've talked about in terms of like the pressure on her to make this kind of move, given that she can't win any of these competitions. I don't think I don't think that she put herself in this position in the same way that I would say other people that I've given a 1 to have. So I
That's
will
true.
not give Cirie a 1. On top of that, I do think she has the smallest chance in the world to still survive. And more key to that is that if she does survive and gets Matt back on her side, she's actually in a very good spot moving forward. But that's quite a ways away. So I also went with a 2 for Cirie. And in terms of like a eulogy for Cirie's game, a lot of people I think are talking about the Heisem move, the red move, the keeping Jag move. And I think all of those are fair, but I do still think it's important to recognize that even outside of all of that, it all would have been fine if not for Jared. Let's be real. Like, let's not forget that it still would have been okay.
All would-
Felicia would have gone home, Izzy would have stayed, and everything would have been fine if not for Jared. Let's move on to Felicia. Mari, how are you feeling about Felicia?
Um, Felicia and her mustard seed, she has stayed, longer than clearly I thought. And at this point, I'm rooting for the underdog. Felicia got me really hot and heated last week because, to be quite honest, the reason why Cirie and Felicia are more than likely in this position is because of what Felicia did last week. Completely eroding Matt and Jag's trust in the both of them. She's thinking she's eroding their trust in Cirie when she was eroding the trust in both of them. So there was no point in sticking to their final four when she's mixing up the pot, against Cirie with them. So I feel like I feel like Felicia has put herself in this position. Unfortunately, the only way out is a win, a comp win. And it's never good when that's the positioning that you're in. She might go home. I don't think she will. So for that, I'm gonna give her a 2. It's like really unfortunate because she's run out of road. She's run out of maneuvering road. She at this point has to win Final Four HOH. That's the only way she's getting the Final 3. I mean, yeah, I just don't. I honestly, I would love if I was wrong, but I just don't see that final that 3, the Mafia. I don't see them turning on each other because they've so hyped themselves up about being good people, and they would need an excuse to do that turning thing. So, um, I feel bad. I feel bad that Felicia is in this spot. I feel bad that her and Cirie are in this spot, but again. I'll say it again, when you don't get equitable comps and you don't have a shot in hell at winning power or safety, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, all right. Well, The audience, a bit more optimistic about Felicia. They gave her a 4.
Yeah, the audience is so lovely. I mean that.
I'm a little torn myself. I'm tempted to go with the 2. I've given a 2 to Bowie. I've given a 2 to Suri. But if I'm looking at just last year's competitions at Final Four, it does feel like Felicia should have a chance. She's the one of 3 competitors in the Final Four HOH. If it's a straight quiz, she has a 33% chance baseline. And on top of that, Jag has performed pretty poorly in quizzes thus far.
Yeah.
Her main competition at that point is maybe Bowie.
Bowie, who
Felicia's
stumbles
studied
her
more
way
than
through them.
anybody. So if it has anything to do with days or anything like that, I think she has a decent chance. It just depends on the kind of competition. And which is, again, it's just like, it's not about who's better. It's about what it is. Can Felicia win? Well, if it's a certain kind of comp, yes. If it's another kind of comp, no. And historically, it always was a certain kind of comp, the kind of comp that she would probably win every time. But it's changed recently.
What was the comp
So
that JC won in BB20?
What the bleep?
Oh, what the bleep would be great right about now.
It
Would have been
would.
great a few weeks ago.
I don't know. I don't know if it works with Matt as well. I think, like, I don't know how well it works with like subtitles. But I think theoretically it could work fine. But
wait, quick question. If Felicia gets to the end, does she get the votes?
Well, that's the next part of this. So let's say Felicia wins either Final Four HOH or Final Four veto. I think HOH is the best spot for her. That means that one of Bowie, Matt, or Jag has to leave at the Final Four. If it's Bowie, then her chances of winning in the Final 2 go down, but her chances of being brought to the Final 2
go up.
Maybe go up. If it's Matt or Jag, then she has like a shot in hell at winning the Final 3 HOH, like genuinely, because there's a chance that if somebody just really screws up the part 2, and it's probably Bowie. It's probably Bowie versus Felicia in part 2 after Jag wins part 1, because Matt's probably the one that's been evicted because Jag chooses to evict Matt over Bowie. It's Bowie versus Felicia in part 2. If Bowie just screws up a lot with the questions, then Felicia may have a shot, depending on how physical it is. It's a long shot. It's a long, long shot. Then she has to beat Jag in the quiz in part 3. But if she wins Final 4 HOH and Final 3 HOH, I think she wins the game. I don't think it matters who she's sitting next to, unless she maybe chooses Jag over Bowie or whoever. It doesn't matter. I think she wins. If she wins just the Final 4 HOH, then gets taken to the Final 2, I still feel like it gives her a little bit of momentum. And if she's up against Jag, there is a lot of negative feelings towards Jag right now. Not impossible. She's up against Bowie. I think she's got a great shot. So for all of those reasons, I am going to give her a 3. I think there's just enough of a chance for her to make it there, for her to maybe win. It's very, very, very low right now. But I think she has a better chance of winning than obviously both Bowie or Suri at this point.
I was honestly thinking the same because, yeah, I just feel like there's a chance. I mean, it's a small chance.
Very small.
But there is a chance. Like, there is a chance. I don't feel like she's, locked out of a win if she can get there somehow. I could see it happen, but it's very, very, very small. But the fact that she has that chance, like, she's not drawing dead. She's not just, like, if it was a situation where it's like, well, she could get to the end, but if she gets to the end, she's not getting the votes, then, like, which is how I kind of feel about Bowie. Like, that's why I would give Bowie a 2 versus Felicia. I would give Felicia a 3 because I do think she has a chance if she gets to the end. I could see people wanting to vote for her and wanting to reward the fact that she's an older house guest. She made it all the way. She didn't have allies. She did it on her own. She won when she needed to at the end, blah, 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 blah. So I could see a situation where she wins, which would be really fun. But yeah, so for now, I'm going to give her a 3.
All right. Let's move on then to Jag. The audience gave Jag 5.
Wow, another 5.
The same rating they gave Suri, by the way.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Seems wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to hear any complaints about our ratings.
Yeah.
How about
How
we
about-
get some screenshot tweets where they complain about the audience?
How about you look inside,
Right.
look internally, because this is the call's coming from inside the house.
So there's some good things that are going on with Jag right now. One, he is willing and capable of cutting Matt in the final 2. We basically have confirmation of a few things. Jag loses to Matt. He knows he loses to Matt. I think, but I don't know, but I think he's gonna cut Matt. If somehow Bowie wins, she's taking Jag. And he's got 2 chances to be immune at the final 4, which means basically he's immune at the final 4. The thing is, I don't think he's guaranteed to win final 3. I think that if it is him versus Matt or even him versus Bowie, it does feel like he has been studying. It does feel like when he studies with Matt that he seems to know his stuff more than Matt does. But that doesn't necessarily equate to quiz wins. Again, Jag has historically not performed super well in quizzes. Granted, they haven't been like a lot of like quizzes that he's been able to study a lot of, but like the one that they did study, the pictures one, the first one that Bowie won, he did pretty poorly in that one. But again, that was like, I mean, he's supposed to be good at that though. He's been doing well at other versions of that when there's running around. So it's hard to say exactly how well he would do there. It's not like last season where it's like Monty obviously beats Turner. Turner hasn't even studied. And you know, it's not like it's not one of those. It's not like Xavier is almost definitely going to beat Azza because he's just performed a lot better in these competitions up until this point. He's been studying really well. It does feel like him versus Matt or even him versus Bowie, not a guarantee. If Matt wins, I think Matt wins the game. So that's kind of dangerous for Jag. There are still some pitfalls for him. But he's in a very good spot here. Taking out Suri is very good for him. And I think he's basically guaranteed final 3 at this point. All that said, I think he's doing a lot of extremely unnecessary things. The trash talking, the arrogance, the way that he is conducting himself, it's bleeding out into the like he's talking a lot of trash, but not to people's faces, except the again, the way he's carrying himself, his attitude is coming off to other people. The way that Felicia's been talking about Jag, the way that Suri is like seeing Jag is like very much like, ugh. And a lot of Felicia talking about like, I'd vote for Bowie over Jag. I don't want Jag to win this thing. You know, again, you can say that right now. Would she actually do it is another question, but this shouldn't be a question for Jag. He has had the easiest ride in the world in the last like 40 days. And for him to be in a spot where people might not vote for him, not because he was voted out, but because of the way he's treating them, is absurd. Like this is the gimme. This is the easy part, dude. So I definitely want to criticize that aspect of his game, because I think it's a huge mistake. All of that said, I do think this is a good week for him. I think his position has improved. And I think that he's still, at this point right now, as long as he really is going to take Matt, because that's another thing, or take Bowie, he still might take Matt. I don't know. He hasn't said anything in the diary room yet. I think we might find out tomorrow night what his real plan is. And I think it's going to be taking Bowie, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to give him a 7. I think that he's in a very good spot now. Part of the reason I haven't been giving him higher ratings to this point is are a few things. One, he's always been one wrong comp out from him going home. That finally ends now. He's now finally probably okay. And number 2, you know, he's been doing things that have been really bad. He's still doing things that are really bad, but his position is good and his end game starts to look a little better. He's no longer taking Matt. A lot of things have opened up for him. So the numbers are starting to open up for him as well, but it's still far from a guarantee at this point. Melissa, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think I feel that Jag is doing a good job. I think like the fact that he has Bowie and they're closer, I think that's really good. I think the fact that Matt is making this mistake with Suri and burning that bridge, I think that's really bad. And so I think for me, it elevates Jag and brings Matt down. Jag has won so many competitions. I feel like that's something that he can absolutely use like as like a resume. I think the fact that he was evicted is like both bad and good. Like it's like he can say like you guys wanted me out and yet look at me now, but he also at the same time like was like, well, he was evicted. He was actually evicted. But like I'll say that my mom, like when I talked to her, she was like, "Oh, if Jag doesn't win, it'll be a crime." Like so the casuals are like very very into a Jag win because they're like, he was like on the outs and he's been winning all these things and look at him now, you know, that sort of thing. So
Melissa, can I just interrupt? Can I ask, how do you respond when she says something like that?
I said, really? But he was evicted. That's the point. He was evicted and now look at him. So like that's it's like yeah.
See, my strategy, it like is if I'm talking to like so I would say he has won a lot of comps.
Well, I mean,
That's all I would say.
he has. It's true. But yeah, no, I literally was like, are really? Like, but I think it is like an underdog thing where it's like for a while they were rooting for Cam and they were sad that like Cam got out and now they're like, Jag's the underdog. We gotta like root for him or whatever. So I think like I think there is that aspect of like, well, you know, he's the underdog because he was like voted out. I don't know if the jury will see it that way, but you know, there is still that aspect there of his game. So, yeah, I think for me, I think he's a 7. I think that I'm not impressed with his gameplay. I'm impressed with his competition wins, I guess, as impressed as I can be with that, which is like I don't really care about that. So like okay. But yeah, I think like generally I'm not super impressed with him as a gamer. I just know that like I mean, think about it. If he wins, most of the season we were giving him a 1. Like, do you remember that? Does everyone remember that? Where we kept giving him 1s? And like now all of a sudden he's gonna win the game. Like, I don't know. I just
I
don't
think I can
I don't think he's a good
come back
player.
down to look at this.
See, that's the thing.
You
He's
can
not
tell
a
which
good
one is
player.
Jag.
You literally can tell which one is Jag. He's not
Was he on the block those weeks?
Some of them he wasn't. Some of them we were just like, he's bad. And so that's the thing is like, just because he's winning comps in this end stage doesn't negate the fact that he's a bad player. I think like there were times where he would be a good player and there were moments where it was like, oh my God, Jag is like finally coming around. But I don't think overall he's like a great Big Brother player. I mean, if we were rating like based on his ability to like play another other season or whatever, like I would not be giving him a 7. But because, you know, he has his chance to win, it's a 7.
It's so funny though. Like I remember specifically saying near the beginning of the season, like Jag is a guy who came in only capable of playing one way, and he's completely inflexible. He can only play that one way, and it seems like he might be a decent player if he was able to play that way, but he's not. Except he got revived. He ended up winning a few competitions here and there, and now all of a sudden he's getting to play that way. And like this is the one way. This is what I was talking about before. The problem is that like he needed to be funneled into this very specific spot in order to be in this position. All right. Mari, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the time I'll let us all agree at this point. 7 for Jag as well. This has been a good week for Jag. Jag made this his week. Like I've been on this program before and given Jag props for playing good. But this is another one of those times he is completely convinced Matt to do a less optimal move for Matt's own personal game by selling him this fantasy of of a Minutemen Final 2 because they're gonna be like the hitmen, and he might cut Matt. Like, he still might take Matt. We don't, we don't know, but it feels like it's like a 70-30 type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like 70%, if he gets the chance to take Bowie, he'll take Bowie. But it's been a good week for Jack. Like you guys said, everything you guys said. And I do want to echo a sentiment that Sasha has talked about. Jag's very bad play aside, him being like the first like Southeast Asian man to win Big Brother would be like a really good boon to representation. And it will show that you can be a horrendous player and win and be a Southeast Asian man. It's like equality, equity across the board. So, like I really want to acknowledge that, because truly I do think that representation, I've said it so many times, really is a big factor in Big Brother House. And I remember when the cast dropped and we saw him on there and all he represents and everything like that. Sorry, South Asian man. South Asian. I'm sorry, the chat. South Asian man. I apologize. So I do think his win would be a really good, like, in the halls of BB for representation. Now, winner, like tiered winner, very low. Very, very low. But good. He's right there along with some other very low winners. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I do want to like point out, I've seen some heinous stuff like talking about Jag and his representation, and I just stop that. Like this is just because you're mad at Jag does not give you free license to start talking about like whether or not he's good or bad representation, or any kind of implications about him or his culture or his background. Just don't bring any of that into this. It's completely unnecessary. Jag is a player on the show, and this is the point of representation, is that he shouldn't have to be a full representation of an entire culture or background.
Exactly.
He should be able, he should be able to go on the show and just be kind of a dick, and maybe not great at the game, but winning a lot of comps. Like, he should be able to be his own human without having to carry that burden. So don't be putting that stuff there. And of course, please also respect the people that do root for Jag and want to see him succeed because of his background, because of what he represents to them, because that is very important as well. But with that, let's move on to Matt. Matt, who has been the front runner for so long. Nobody has gotten a higher rating than Matt since week 7. I don't remember exactly what happened week 7, but that's that's the last like 7 weeks, essentially 6 weeks prior to this one.
Well, yeah.
And
right before the flip.
So it was probably around
the flip
when the Izzy flip happened, I would imagine.
It's what 7 times.
Yeah, 7 weeks.
roughly
that. It's always weird though, because the way that we label the Stockwatch weeks, like week 1 is not always 1-to-1 with the week 1 of the anyway. So he's been the front runner for so long, and rightfully so. I mean, he has been. Again, I think a lot of people again are starting to like revise history in terms of like, he's never been a good player. He was always going to flop. I don't really think that. I think that again, you have to remember that any wrong outcome in competitions, if Jag doesn't get to compete back to back, things go wildly wrong for Jag. If he doesn't go on this streak, he goes home, Matt stays, Matt's still in a great spot. That's what it means to be in a good position. That's what it means to be a good player. Matt was always going to beat Jag in the final 2. Jag was always taking Matt to the final 2. The difference is that things just changed. Sometimes things slip out of your hands. Netta can tell you that story. And so, not to compare Matt to Netta by any means. But sometimes things just, you make one mistake and it all crumbles. That's That's one of the other beauties of Big Brother. And in this case, it's also, by the way, very easy to make one little mistake when somebody's won 8 competitions. So that's what I think has happened here. I think he made a massive mistake this week. And I think that he is continuing to make that massive mistake if he goes into the final 4 and has no plans on evicting either Jag or Bowie. If he evicts Felicia, I think he's really locking himself into a spot where he is in a must-win position, which isn't, like, again, not the worst thing in the world. A must-win position for Matt in the final 3, where he's basically guaranteed to get to the final part of the competition, where he has a decent chance of winning that and winning the whole game. It's not the worst. It's just not nearly as good as it has been for the last 6 weeks. And so I do think he has tanked a bit here with bad gameplay and bad positioning. He still has some decent outcomes ahead of him, but I can't go higher than a 5 this week for Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think
sorry.
it's...
Wow, another 5.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Hi, Sim. Yeah, I think his gameplay is certainly not great this week. I still think, obviously, he has a great chance of winning the game, but I do think that, you know, evicting Cirie or even putting her on the block is just such a bad move for him. I mean, like, he really should have gone after Felicia, or, like, I guess maybe Bowie, honestly, but I think, or maybe he should have just taken the stab at Jag. I don't know. Basically anybody else, essentially, than Cirie, because, you know, she really had trust in him. This is just not a good move for, you know, his game in the house, but also the jury house. I just think this is not good for him. It doesn't make any sense. It's just bad. So I don't like it. However, I do think he still has a really good chance to win because, you know, the comps. He could just, like, win every single one and not be able to be evicted, and then just, like, be there in the end. And I think like, basically him against anyone, I do feel like he does have a decent chance of getting the votes. So, like, in any scenario. So yeah, I think for me, I'm going to give him a 6, just to be a little different, but really it was going either way, 5 or a 6, but yeah, a 6.
Yeah, Matt completely is giving away his strategic positioning, because this is what happens when you are trading comp wins with what you think is your number 1. You can feel like you can give up strategic positioning because I'm just going to win all the comps anyways, or my bestie's going to win all the comps anyways, and we're going to the final 2. And like, to be going into a final 4 with Felicia, Bowie, and Jag is not good for Matt. Felicia has always been closer to Jag, especially these last few weeks. Cirie is the only person out of that who's not, you know, who's not Jag, because he thinks Jag is his number 1. But I never thought that he thought Bowie was his number 2. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been him and Cirie. It's always been him and Cirie for, like, the past few weeks. So to give up his piece on the board so Jag can have 2 pieces going into a final 4 where you can't even compete. And so you're kind of hoping you win one of those, you win veto, or you're putting your trust into your Bowies, your Jags. But, like, on the wildest off chance that Felicia is the one making that vote, you even put yourself in a worse position. Because if Bowie and Matt somehow end up on the block with Felicia making that decision, you are gone, Matt. Like, you're gone. So why would you even put yourself in that position? Because you don't think that that position will ever happen. You're not accounting for that position. Your arrogance has made it so you are no longer accounting for that position. And you should never get that comfortable in Big Brother, even if it's true. Even after we say all this and it's true, he wins out, he wins the game. You should not take that chance. You should not be taking chances you don't need to be taking. You know what I'm saying? Because he easily could have convinced them to, I think, keep Cirie. He shouldn't have let the idea slip so far down the hill, like roll down the hill, for getting rid of her and giving Bowie and Jag the okay to get rid of her. And he's really not seeing the forest through the trees. So again, because of his physicalness, it might not all matter, but I'm never gonna give you credit for a move that deteriorates your position, even if you still have a really good shot at the end. So I'm gonna give him a 5.
Wow, another 5.
Yeah.
The audience has given 2 5s, 1 3, 1 4, and another 4. They gave him a 4.
Oh,
Lower than
please.
Suri, by the way.
Please. Please.
Suri was the
Be
highest rated
serious.
player this week from the audience.
No. Like, this is like, do you want to lose your
I love
privilege?
it.
Do you want to lose your rating privilege? Because this is tainting the stocks and I don't like it.
I don't care. Everybody's stocks are valid. Their thoughts are valid. It's okay.
I'm seeing some chatter in the chat about like what strategic moves has Matt made. I don't want this to be forgotten because Matt was always the more active and strategic player over Jag. Matt is the one that was in the multiple alliances early on in Suri's structure. Matt is the one that was included in the Legend 25 where Jag was not. And Matt is the one that was very willing to drop Jag if he needed to at that time. Matt is the one that that had everyone in his pocket, including most notably Cameron and Red at that time. And they fully trusted him and thought he was on board with them, even though he totally wasn't. When everything goes, Matt, of course, also is the one that saves Jag. When everything goes down and the entire house flips, Matt is the one that manages to maintain that relationship with Jared. When Jared wins that HOH and goes after Cam, he wanted to go after Matt and Jag, or specifically Jag, but his relationship with Matt is part of what held him back. When Cameron came back in the house, it was his still existing relationship with Matt that kept him from going after them again and wanting to make an alliance with them. Matt, his again actively working with Cameron is what got Cameron in working with them again. Matt is the one that got the ball rolling and had the idea to go to Bowie and pull Bowie in. She was always closer to Matt than she was Jag up until very recently. And that Bowie is like the key to them winning this entire game. That was Matt. Matt has always been the person driving them. He has always been the person pushing Jag out in front so that Jag will leave if something wrong happens. But of course, again, it never played out that way. And now he's making a massive mistake and throwing his game away. But Matt has been doing a lot and had done a lot, which is, again, I'm not saying he's a great player. I never said he was a great player. Some other people on this podcast have. I have not felt that way. I think that he was one of the better players this season, and his gameplay fit the season pretty well up until this point, at least. But he definitely has not done nothing. He's done a lot more than most in the game in terms of his social game, strategic game, and then also like competitively he's been okay.
Agreed to all of that.
All right, so that is the Stockwatch for the week. Another big crash here in the market, I believe. But some big money perhaps for Jag, if you were willing to take the risk and go in on him. I was not. I was not willing to take the risk on Jag because again, like this is why would you take the risk on Jag when he could have easily gone home? That's the entire thing. So
I literally don't remember what I have anymore. I have not changed mine in so long. I wonder who. I think I had Corey in America or something.
I bought Matt stock. I bought Matt stock like maybe around the first time I came on here. So I've just held that the whole time.
Okay, well here's what's happening. Mari currently ranked 847.
Don't look at that. Don't look at that.
You dropped 65 places this week. You lost $137 holding on to that.
Stop putting me on blast, Taran.
Melissa
I'm gonna be worse.
2,882nd place.
Told ya. What do I have? I don't even think I have anything.
You have Bowie, Felicia, Matt, and Jag.
Okay. That's not bad.
So this week you actually went up 75 places because you
Thank
only
you.
lost $36.
Thank you. See, everybody, I'm actually
That's
doing
good.
well.
Net positive. Yeah, net gain.
Okay.
There you go. I am out of nowhere. I don't want to jinx it, but I've slowly been climbing the ranks. I'm kind of crushing. I haven't done anything the last couple of weeks,
Oh my
and everyone
God.
else has been losing money, and I'm just
Yeah,
sitting
everyone's
here.
just doing bad. What's your rank? What's your number?
I'm all the way up now to 21st.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
I was down like way down early too.
Rigged.
I'd lost a bunch on Jared.
Rigged. Rigged for
I don't
Taran.
believe it.
Yeah, I was in 1,143rd place in week 5.
Oh my God.
Dang.
That's probably
Yeah.
the worst you've ever done.
Well, that's the Stockwatch. Any final thoughts on the week?
I mean, it would be really cool to see Sari pull something off and make it so that she can stay this week. I think that would be the way that the week could be made. Not that I like really want Felicia to go home or anything like that, because I really don't, but just to be able to see her pull off some sort of like trick to stay would be a way to make the week interesting. Otherwise, this week is not very interesting. I'm honestly not very interested. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. We have, what is it, less than 10 days, and it's freedom. So I'm just gonna and not enjoy the ride. I'll just be on the ride.
You'll just be here.
I'll be and it's fine. It's fine. At this point, just get it over with. It's done. The book is signed, sealed, deliver. Give them the money already, and let's keep it moving. Is there going to be a winter season? What do we think? We think that's going to happen? Like a winter Big Brother? Y'all heard about that? Y'all heard the?
I have not heard the rumor.
There's so many rumors. Will
I don't
be
know about winter.
celebrity. Oh, will it be all of the winners coming back, or will it be newbies?
Who knows?
I'm interested.
I do have one question because I really like I think I don't even think it's really much of a debate, but I'm curious to see the thoughts. Jag, if he wins, does he go in asterisk tier?
Oh, yes, just because of the eviction alone.
Yeah.
Then like you said, the back-to-back HOH doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't even put him into like, so like I compared him. Check out the BB blackout thing I did over on Silent Podcast. I compared him to like Josh Martinez, when like everybody was like, why did Josh win? He only won because everybody hated Paul. But even that to me is like, people might have the asterisk next to Josh, but at least Josh was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Josh was entertaining, and Josh gave us that moment on finale night where Paul got screwed again. And just for that, that's like iconic. So Jag doesn't even go into the like iconically ironic legendary winner tier. He would just go into like,
I mean, I personally don't have Josh in asterisk tier because
that's what I'm saying.
Aside from like the week
Some people
1 immunity, like there wasn't a like Ian had week 1 immunity too, where he would have been out. Like he's in that tier maybe, but like it's for the record, when we talk about asterisk tier, we're talking about Evil Dick, Rachel Riley, and Jordan, who all had massive twists significantly impact the result of their season.
Definitely go there.
And
definitely.
And again, this is not like
Have
necessarily a knock on them.
Have we ever had a winner that was someone who came back into the house?
No.
So yeah, I feel like that's, to me, that like, I think it would be considered an asterisk. I don't think the double HOH thing would make me consider, if it was just that, I don't think that would make me consider him asterisk, because
I would, but
well, yeah, but I think that it's like Big Brother throws things at you, like, that's just the way the game is. And sometimes it's, whatever. And sometimes it's
So
not.
the reason I would is that the reason Rachel Riley is an asterisk is because of basically the same twist, where she was able to win 2 vetoes to save both her and an ally when her ally would have gone home. It's the same thing that happened here with Jag. He was able to compete in back-to-back HOHs, saving either Matt or Bowie, who then in turn saved him in the double eviction. And so and specifically with Bowie, gave him somebody he could beat in the final 2. So that alone, I think, that's Rachel Riley right there. And then the other thing is that the other thing for Rachel is that Brendan comes back into the game, giving another sort of buffer. Except
Cam
Jag literally is the
game.
one that came back into the game, so it's definitely worse than Rachel's asterisk.
But Zombie Week, Cam comes back into the game and gives Jag another week there too. So
exactly.
it's like,
that's why I feel like personally, if you consider Rachel Riley to be an asterisk, there's absolutely zero debate. He has to be in that tier.
I think I think, and to clarify, I don't think having an asterisk next to your win means that it devalues your win or invalidates your win.
The bank.
I think it's you're still a winner and you still that's your win. But I do think that it's just please note that there was a significant twist or whatever that did help you win this. I think that's something to note.
And it doesn't change your popularity because Rachel Riley is still fabulous and amazing.
We all love Rachel Riley. Again, that's why it's not like a knock on the person necessarily. It's purely just in terms of the way that we've talked about winners for decades at this point. I think that you definitely have to that's kind of where we're at. All right. So that's it. That's the Stockwatch Roundtable for the week. We're going to have one more of these before the end of the season. Next week, of course, will be the final week. It will be the final 3 at that point. The final 4 eviction is on Sunday night. So we'll head into the final 3. We probably won't know. We might know the results of the part 1, but probably not part 2 by then. We'll have to wait and see. So tune in for that. I will be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happened today on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. Then I'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching tomorrow night's episode, a Halloween episode of Big Brother, and then we'll be on the podcast to recap it all. And then Wednesday, live in Brea, where you can come and hang out with us and watch Survivor live on Wednesday night. And then on Thursday, we'll be watching the eviction live in Brea. We'll do a live podcast afterward. There's going to be lots of fun guests. So make sure you check out tickets for that at robinsonwebsite.com/events. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and all those places. Mari, where can people find you?
Of course, you can find me over on the Crime Scene podcast. Yes, RJP has a true crime review podcast where me and Sarah Carradine, we review true crime documentaries, docuseries, other properties, and we tell you if you should watch them. This week, coming out tomorrow, we have a very harrowing episode where we talk to Chantel, who was on the morning update this morning. We talked to her about the docuseries, the 2-part docuseries on Paramount Plus called Crush, which chronicled the 2022 Halloween crush disaster in South Korea that claimed 159 people's lives. It was a very sad and shocking watch, but the discussion was really, really good between me, Sarah, and Chantel. So definitely go check that out. If you can go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed in order to subscribe. And if you need something light after that, we were joined by Liana Boris the week before to talk about The Greatest Show Never Made. It was about a reality show back in 2002 that this guy got all these people together to make, and they never made it. And that one is on Prime, I believe. So do a doubleheader, do a Halloween doubleheader, and go check out Crime Scene. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. That's it.
All right. And of course, you can find Melissa at It's Melissa with 3.
That's creepy.
Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight, and we will see all of you next time.